ASAP Rocky is having the run of his life right now, and the internet cannot stop talking about it. People are literally saying he might be in the new Big Three with Tyler and Kendrick. This whole situation has hip-hop spinning because nobody saw this comeback hitting this hard. The numbers don't lie, and the visuals are absolutely insane. Everybody thought they knew where ASAP Rocky stood in the game. For months, maybe even years, people been saying he fell off. He's just a fashion guy now. He's a model. He's Rihanna's man. He ain't really rapping no more. That was the version everyone kept repeating online. The narrative was set. Rocky was done as a serious rapper. But now, Don't Be Dumb just dropped and is projected to do 200,000 first week. Let me say that again. 200,000 units. And suddenly the whole narrative is twisting. The Whiskey and Black Demarco music video just hit, and it's got Tim Burton. Yes, that Tim Burton literally narrating and designing the whole aesthetic. Folks online are going absolutely crazy because this isn't just a music video. This is a cinematic experience. This is Rocky showing everybody exactly why you can never count him out. The mob is back and hip-hop is hip-hopping again. Let me break down exactly what's happening in this visual masterpiece because every single frame is intentional. The video opens with this cold draft blowing through, fingers going numb, and immediately you see AWGE branding everywhere. And for folks who don't know, AWGE is Rocky's creative collective. It's not just a clothing brand, it's his whole artistic vision. Everything Rocky touches has that AWGE stamp, and it represents this experimental, boundary-pushing approach to hip-hop culture. Tim Burton himself is sitting at a bar with a sketchbook. And listen to this, he's not just in the video, he's narrating it. But here's the crazy part. When you actually listen to what Tim Burton is saying, he's dropping bars, like actual rap bars. A man with a sketchbook sat alone at the bar, not ordinary by far. That's literally rhyming narration. ASAP Rocky got Tim Burton to rap, and nobody's talking about this enough. The visuals show all these Tim Burton-style drawings coming to life. You see the crash test dummy from Rocky's last album aesthetic, and it literally crashes. Symbolism on top of symbolism. The old era is done. Don't Be Dumb is the new wave. And the way they blend 2D animation with real footage is giving Roger Rabbit vibes, that classic technique where cartoons interact with the real world. The attention to detail is absolutely mind-blowing. Now check this out. In the background, while all this animated chaos is happening, there's literally a bar fight going down, but the music keeps playing. And that's when you realize what Rocky been trying to tell us. This album was made for live performance. These songs hit different when you're in the crowd, when you're in that energy. The music video captures that raw, chaotic, cinematic feeling perfectly. Rocky's bars on this track are straight fire too. I asked Jesus for a feature is such a hard line because think about it. What if Jesus actually dropped a verse? He got all the knowledge. He knows everything that happened and everything that's gonna happen. If Jesus gave you 16 bars, he'd smoke you in ways you can't even comprehend. He'd be rapping about stuff that hasn't even occurred yet, dropping references to future events. That's the level of wordplay Rocky operating on. Then he hits you with RIP ODB just for no reason. No setup, no context, just straight respect to Old Dirty Bastard out of nowhere. And if you know hip-hop, you know why that matters. ODB was that raw, unfiltered energy, that artistic freedom, that refusal to be put in a box. ASAP clearly studied the Wu-Tang blueprint. My older brother literally cried when Dirt Dog died. That's how deep ODB's impact was, especially for New York heads. Rest in peace to Big Baby Jesus. The whole aesthetic feels like a Gorillaz music video mixed with Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, and that's intentional. Rocky been saying he wants to push hip-hop visually to places it's never been. People tried to limit him, tried to say, you gotta rap about the same 5 topics everybody been rapping about since 1974 or you're not real hip-hop. But Rocky said, nah, I'm gonna work with Tim Burton. I'm gonna create these elaborate visual worlds. I'm gonna treat rap like the art form it actually is. Fans online turned into full investigators with this video. They're slowing down frames, zooming in on every detail, comparing it to Rocky's old music videos, the Lamborghini High video, the Fashion Killer visuals. Everything connects. People are finding Easter eggs and references to ASAP Mob history. Rest in peace to ASAP Yams. Happy Yams Day till infinity. The mob energy is all through this project. And the technical execution is flawless. The color grading, the set design, the costume work, every single element is crafted with precision. This isn't just a rapper making a music video. This is a creative director building an entire universe. Rocky proving once again that nobody in hip-hop is touching him visually. Maybe Tyler the Creator comes close with his visual storytelling, but Rocky been doing this at the highest level consistently. The way the video transitions between scenes, the pacing, the timing with the beat switches, it's all perfectly orchestrated. You can tell this took months of planning. This wasn't some rushed project. This was a calculated artistic statement. Rocky saying, I'm back and I'm operating on a different level than everybody else. Let me continue because there's so much more to unpack here. The fashion choices alone deserve their own breakdown. Rocky's wearing pieces that blend high fashion with street culture seamlessly. That's always been his signature, taking runway pieces and making them feel authentic to hip-hop. Not costumey, not trying it too hard, just natural integration of different worlds. And the symbolism of having Tim Burton as the creator who falls asleep and his drawings come to life, that's Rocky's whole career metaphor. He's the dreamer, the visionary, the artist who brings impossible ideas into reality. People doubted him, said he couldn't maintain relevance, said he was just a pretty boy who got lucky, but he kept creating, kept pushing boundaries, and now his vision is literally animated and living on screen. The bar where Burton sits represents that creative space, that place between consciousness and dreams where real innovation happens. And when those drawings escape and cause chaos, that's what happens when you let your creativity run wild, when you stop trying to fit into boxes and just create freely. That's the message embedded in every frame. Now let's get into why this moment matters so much for ASAP Rocky and why this comeback hits different than anything else happening in hip-hop right now. Because to understand the significance of this Tim Burton collaboration and this whole Don't Be Dumb era, you gotta understand where Rocky been and what he's been fighting against. ASAP Rocky came up in 2011 with Live Love ASAP. That was a moment. That was a cultural shift. Songs like Peso and Purple Swag literally changed the sound of hip-hop. The cloud rap aesthetic, the Houston influences mixed with Harlem swagger, the fashion-forward approach. Rocky wasn't just a rapper, he was a complete package, a lifestyle, and the industry took notice immediately. But here's what happened. After Long Live ASAP dropped in 2013 and went platinum, after AT Long Last ASAP came out in 2015, Rocky started getting pigeonholed. Media kept pushing this narrative that he cared more about fashion than music, that he was more interested in sitting front row at Paris Fashion Week than in the studio. And some of that was true. Rocky did become a fashion icon. He was walking runways and dating models and living that high fashion life. But what people didn't understand, what they still don't understand, is that for Rocky, it's all connected. The fashion is the music. The visuals are the art. You can't separate them. That's his whole philosophy. Hip-hop isn't just audio, it's a complete cultural expression, and Rocky been trying to show people that since day one. Then, testing dropped in 2018, and people were confused. The experimental production, the weird song structures, the avant-garde approach, it didn't do the numbers people expected. Critics were mixed, and suddenly the narrative got louder. Rocky lost it. He's too focused on being weird. He's trying too hard to be artistic. Just give us the bangers. After testing, Rocky went relatively quiet for years. He had the whole Sweden situation in 2019 where he got arrested and locked up for that street fight. That was a dark period. Trump got involved, it became this whole international incident. And when Rocky finally got released and came home, he could have easily rushed out music to capitalize on the attention, but he didn't. He stepped back, took his time. Meanwhile, the hip-hop landscape kept shifting. New artists blowing up every month, streaming numbers becoming the only metric people cared about, TikTok changing how music gets discovered, and Rocky watched all of this happen while people kept asking, where's the album? When's Rocky dropping? Does anyone even care about ASAP Rocky anymore? That kind of silence, that kind of absence from the spotlight, it can destroy careers. We've seen it happen to so many artists. They disappear for too long and the culture moves on without them. But Rocky understood something crucial.
He understood that going away and coming back strategically is actually the move. Let people miss you, let them wonder, let the anticipation build. Think about every artist who stays omnipresent, who never leaves the timeline, who drops every 6 months like clockwork. Eventually, people get tired. There's no mystery, no excitement. But when you go away, when you make people wait, when you come back with something truly special, that's when you can have real impact. And Rocky used that time wisely. He became a father, his relationship with Rihanna became public, he matured as an artist and as a person. He studied, he planned, he built this Don't Be Dumb project with intention. Every visual, every collaboration, every rollout decision was calculated. The AWGE branding got stronger during this period. The collective kept working, kept creating, kept building that aesthetic universe. So when Rocky finally came back, it wasn't just him. It was this whole movement, this whole creative force that had been developing in the background. And now we're seeing the payoff. 200,000 first week. That's not just good numbers. That's a statement. That's Rocky proving that yes, people do still care. Yes, the artistry does matter. Yes, you can take your time and come back stronger. The mob is back and it's undeniable. What makes this even more significant is the Tim Burton collaboration specifically. Burton is a legend, a visionary director who's been making iconic films for decades. Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Batman. This isn't some random director trying to get hip-hop credibility. This is Tim Burton choosing to work with A$AP Rocky because he respects the vision. That validation matters. It shows that Rocky's artistic approach is being recognized beyond just hip-hop circles. He's operating in that rare space where high art and street culture meet, where fashion houses and rap fans both pay attention, where you can have a Tim Burton collaboration and it makes perfect sense because both artists understand visual storytelling at the highest level. Let me keep going because the broader context is important. Hip-hop has always had this tension between commercial success and artistic integrity, between street credibility and mainstream acceptance. Rocky's been navigating that tension his whole career, and what he's showing now is that you don't have to choose. You can be artistic and successful. You can experiment and connect with audiences. You can work with Tim Burton and still be respected in hip-hop. The fact that people are now talking about Rocky being in the big three with Tyler and Kendrick, that's huge, because for a while, that conversation didn't include him. People were talking about Drake, Kendrick, and Cole, or Kendrick, Tyler, and whoever else, but Rocky was left out of those discussions. Now, he's forcing his way back in through pure artistic excellence and undeniable impact.
But here's the part that really hits different when you watch this video and understand what Rocky's been through to get to this moment. This isn't just about making cool visuals or getting good numbers. This is about an artist who refused to be limited, who refused to let other people define what he could be. Think about the pressure Rocky was under. After testing underperformed commercially, after the Sweden situation, after years of people saying he fell off, he could have easily given up on the artistic vision. Could have just made a safe commercial album full of radio singles, could have chased trends and tried to sound like whatever's popping right now. But he didn't. He doubled down on being himself. And that takes real courage, especially in an industry that's constantly telling artists to play it safe, to follow formulas, to give people what they expect. Rocky said, nah, I'm gonna work with Tim Burton. I'm gonna make the music I wanna make. I'm gonna trust my vision even when everyone's doubting me. You can see that confidence in every frame of this video. The way Rocky carries himself, the way he delivers these bars. There's no hesitation, no second guessing, just pure artistic conviction. And that energy is infectious. It makes you believe in the vision too. The Tim Burton narration adds this layer of validation that's almost emotional when you really think about it. Here's this legendary filmmaker, this icon who's created some of the most visually stunning movies ever made, and he's lending his voice and his aesthetic to a hip-hop project. That's not just a collaboration, that's a passing of the torch. That's one generation of visual storytellers recognizing and elevating the next. And for Rocky, who's been fighting for years to be taken seriously as a complete artist, not just a rapper, not just a fashion guy, but a true creative visionary, this must feel like vindication. All those people who said he was trying too hard, who said he should just stick to making club bangers, who said the artistic stuff was pretentious, they were wrong. And now there's proof.
The crash test dummy symbolism hits even harder when you understand it represents Rocky's last album era literally crashing so this new era can begin. It's acknowledging the struggle, the setbacks, the times when things didn't go as planned. But instead of running from that, Rocky's incorporating it into the art, making it part of the story. That's mature artistry right there. When Burton falls asleep and his drawings come to life causing chaos in the bar, that's every artist's dream and nightmare simultaneously. Your creations taking on life of their own, your vision becoming reality but also becoming uncontrollable. And Rocky's living that. His influence on fashion, on music, on culture, it's bigger than him now. It's taken on its own life. The whole video feels like a celebration, but also like a statement. Like Rocky saying, "I told you so," but in the most artistic way possible, not through beef or drama, but through undeniable creative excellence, through work that speaks for itself.
Now let's get back into the specific details that make this video such a masterclass in visual storytelling, because there's so much happening that you might miss on first watch. Fans online been breaking down every single frame, and the layers just keep revealing themselves. First, let's talk about the animation style. It's not just random Tim Burton aesthetics drawn together. If you look closely, the character designs reference specific Burton films. You got Nightmare Before Christmas influences in the way certain figures move, Edward Scissorhands vibes in some of the character silhouettes, even some Beetlejuice energy in the chaotic bar scene. It's like Burton created a whole new universe that combines elements from his entire filmography specifically for this Rocky project. The color palette is intentional too. Lots of blacks, grays, and strategic pops of color. That's classic Burton, but it's also classic ASAP Mob aesthetic. The way ASAP's crew always dressed, that monochrome base with occasional bright accents, the visual language is consistent across decades of work. And check this out. Online detectives started comparing the animated characters to real ASAP Mob members. People are saying certain drawings look like ASAP Yams, others might represent different mob members. It's like Burton created this animated memorial to the whole movement. Rest in peace to Yams. His spirit is all through this project, even though he's not here physically. The bar setting itself is significant. Bars have always been important in hip-hop culture, not just as places to drink, but as community spaces, places where stories get told, where reputations get built, where legends are born. And having Tim Burton sit in that bar as the creator, as the artist whose imagination fuels everything, that's Rocky positioning himself in that same legacy, as someone whose creativity shapes culture. The way the video transitions between the animated world and reality is technically impressive too. They're using techniques that most music videos don't attempt. The compositing work alone probably took weeks, getting the lighting to match between practical footage and animation, making sure the physics feel right when animated characters interact with real objects. This is film-level production quality in a music video format. Let me break down some specific bars that hit different in the video context. When Rocky says, "Pretty boy hopping off the porch, city boy mopping in New York, pretty boy model in Dior," he's literally describing his whole journey, from Harlem streets to international fashion shows, and the visuals support every line. You see flashes of fashion imagery mixed with street scenes. It's autobiography through art. The RIP ODB moment is even more powerful in video form because it comes during this chaotic bar fight sequence. And ODB was chaos personified, raw energy, unfiltered creativity. So placing that tribute in the middle of madness makes perfect sense. It's honoring Dirty Spirit in the most appropriate way possible. People been comparing this to Tyler, the Creator's work, and honestly, that's the right comparison. Both artists understand that music videos aren't just promotional tools. They're art pieces in themselves. They're opportunities to expand the world of the song, to add layers of meaning that pure audio can't convey. Rocky and Tyler are the two rappers right now operating at that level consistently. But what separates this particular video is the Burton collaboration. Tyler's been working with amazing directors and animators, but Rocky got a literal Hollywood legend, someone whose visual style is instantly recognizable worldwide. That's a different level of validation, and it opens doors for what hip-hop visuals can be. The promo run Rocky's been doing for this album has been smart too. Strategic appearances, interviews with the right outlets, social media presence that feels authentic, not forced. He's not oversaturating. He's not doing too much, just enough to keep the momentum building. That's the going away and coming back strategy executed perfectly. And the numbers back it up. 200,000 first week in 2025 is impressive for any artist, but especially for someone people were counting out. Especially for someone who took years between projects. Especially for someone making experimental artistic music instead of chasing trends. Those numbers prove the audience is there for real artistry when it's done at this level. Fans are already calling this one of the best music videos of the year, and we're barely into 2025. The YouTube views are climbing fast, social media reactions are overwhelmingly positive, even people who weren't Rocky fans before are taking notice. That's what happens when you create something undeniable, something that transcends genre and just hits as pure art. The video also works as a perfect introduction to the album's aesthetic. If you watch this and then listen to Don't Be Dumb front to back, everything clicks. You understand the world Rocky's building, the sounds make more sense, the experimental choices feel intentional instead of random. That's the power of strong visual accompaniment. And let's keep it real, this video is already influencing other artists. You're gonna see more rappers trying to get big-name directors, more elaborate animated sequences, more attempts at this level of visual storytelling. Rocky's setting a new standard, and the whole industry is gonna feel it. Let me keep going because there's more technical brilliance to discuss. The editing rhythm matches the music perfectly. When the beat switches, the visual style shifts. When Rocky's flow gets more aggressive, the animation gets more chaotic. It's not just visuals with music playing over it, it's true synchronization between audio and visual storytelling. The practical effects mixed with digital animation creates this unique texture. Some shots feel handmade, almost stop-motion quality. Others are clearly high-end CGI, but it all blends seamlessly because the art direction is so strong. Every element serves the overall vision. And the symbolism of Burton waking up at the end, realizing his drawings came to life, that's the artist's ultimate fantasy. Your imagination becoming real, your dreams manifesting in the physical world. Rocky is living that. His creative vision is now a Tim Burton collaboration. His music is moving units, his influence is undeniable. The dreams became reality.
Now, this whole situation gets even crazier when you realize the broader context of what's happening in hip-hop right now. We're in this moment where artistry is making a comeback, where artists who actually care about the craft are getting their flowers, and Rocky's at the forefront of that movement. Think about the state of rap before this album dropped. Everything was starting to sound the same. Same producers, same flow, same topics. The algorithm was dictating what got made. TikTok was determining what became hits, and artistry was taking a back seat to virality. But Rocky said, nah, I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna work with Tim Burton. I'm gonna make something that matters beyond just streaming numbers. And that approach is inspiring other artists. You're seeing more rappers talk about taking their time between projects, more focus on album rollouts instead of just dropping singles constantly, more emphasis on visuals and complete artistic statements. Rocky's influence on the culture goes beyond just his own music. The AWGE collective deserves credit too. They've been building this aesthetic for years, creating lookbooks, directing videos, throwing events. It's a whole creative ecosystem. And now, with Don't Be Dumb, we're seeing the fullest realization of that vision. Everything AWGE's been working toward culminates in this project. People keep asking what AWGE actually stands for, and honestly, the mystery is part of the appeal. It's become this symbol of creative freedom, of artistic experimentation, of refusing to be boxed in. Whether it's a clothing brand, a creative collective, or philosophy, it represents something bigger than any simple definition. The fashion world's been paying attention too. High fashion brands see what Rocky's doing and they want to be part of it. That's why you see him in campaigns for major houses. That's why Fashion Week front rows always have a seat for him. He's bridged that gap between street culture and high fashion in a way few others have. And let's talk about the live performance aspect. Rocky's been saying this album was made for concerts, for that live energy. The music video captures some of that chaos and excitement, but imagine experiencing these songs in a packed venue. The production is designed for big sound systems. The energy is meant for crowds. That's intentional artistry, thinking beyond just streaming and considering the full experience.
The Sweden situation from 2019 still casts a shadow over Rocky's story. That was a traumatic experience, being locked up in a foreign country, the international incident it became, the political drama. But Rocky came through that stronger, more focused, more determined to make his art matter. You can feel that resilience in this new work. His relationship with Rihanna changed the public perception too. Suddenly, he wasn't just a rapper or a fashion icon, he was Rihanna's partner, a father, someone with deeper dimensions to his life. And that maturity shows in the music, in the artistic choices, in the way he carries himself now. The comparison to Tyler and Kendrick in that new Big Three conversation is interesting because all three artists represent different aspects of hip-hop excellence. Kendrick's the conscious lyricist, Tyler's the genre-bending producer-rapper, Rocky's the visual artist and cultural curator. Together, they represent what hip-hop can be when artists refuse to be limited. Meanwhile, traditional commercial rap is struggling to maintain relevance. Artists who relied on formulas are finding those formulas don't work anymore. But artists with real vision, with authentic, creative voices, they're thriving. Rocky's success with Don't Be Dumb proves that. Quality still wins when it's executed at the highest level. And this story is still unfolding with way bigger implications than just one music video or one album. What we're seeing here is how hip-hop can evolve as an art form when artists are willing to take risks and push boundaries. Rocky's collaboration with Tim Burton isn't just cool, it's a blueprint for what's possible. The bigger conversation is about artistic freedom in hip-hop. For too long, rappers been told they gotta stay in their lane. Can't be too weird, can't be too experimental, can't collaborate outside the genre. But Rocky's showing that those limitations are fake. You can work with legendary filmmakers. You can create elaborate visual worlds. You can be a complete artist. When you constantly push boundaries like Rocky does, you're not just making music for yourself. You're opening doors for the next generation. You're showing young artists that they don't have to choose between commercial success and artistic integrity, that they can be themselves fully and still win. Rocky's situation is a wild example, but it's also a warning for anybody with a platform. The more visible you are, the more your choices matter, the more your work influences culture. That's responsibility, but it's also opportunity. Rocky's using his platform to elevate hip-hop as an art form, to show what's possible when you refuse to be limited. The internet culture around this has been fascinating too. How quickly fans dissect every frame, how deeply they engage with the art. That's the audience Rocky's built. People who care about the details, who appreciate the craft, who want more than just background music. They want art that challenges them, that rewards close attention. And honestly, this moment feels historic. Years from now, people will look back at this Tim Burton collaboration as a turning point, as proof that hip-hop belongs in the same conversation as any other art form, that rappers can work with Hollywood legends and create something that elevates both. The ripple effects are already visible. Other artists reaching out to unconventional collaborators, more emphasis on visual storytelling, more willingness to take creative risks. Rocky's not just making music, he's shifting culture. That's legacy-level impact right there. So where does A$AP Rocky go from here? Because this is clearly just the beginning of a new chapter. Don't Be Dumb is out now doing numbers. The visuals are setting new standards. The conversation around his place in hip-hop has completely shifted. But what's next? Rumors are circulating about more music videos from the album. If the Whiskey and Black Demarco visual is this elaborate, imagine what else is coming. Rocky's known for going all out with rollouts. Every video, every performance, every appearance is calculated to build the narrative. There's talk about a world tour, taking this album on the road and showing what it's really meant for. Live performances where the energy can fully translate, where fans can experience these songs the way Rocky intended. That's when Don't Be Dumb will truly hit its peak impact. And the Tim Burton collaboration might not be a one-time thing. If this video performs well, if the reception stays this positive, who knows what other projects they might cook up together. Maybe a short film, maybe more videos. The possibilities are endless when two visionaries connect like this. The new Big Three conversation is only getting louder. And honestly, Rocky's making a strong case. The artistry is undeniable. The influence is clear. The work speaks for itself. Stay locked in because this A$AP Rocky comeback story is far from over. More visuals dropping, more performances coming, more proof that real artistry wins. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Rocky's in the new Big 3? And are these the best hip-hop visuals we've seen in years? Like this video, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. I appreciate you rocking with me. Stay safe, and remember, never count out a real artist. It's the mob.